you know, she makes friends with a badger and she makes friends with a dragon and she makes friends with a bullfrog. And, those aren't anything that look like her or anything that she's ever known. But,
Mm.
she embraced it. And so just having compassion and openness to embrace things maybe you don't understand, but my God, they fulfill your life. And so
Right.
that's definitely a theme through it.
Ho, 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 ho. Welcome to Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 490. I'm your host, Barney Smith of Storycomic.com, and we're excited to have with us the internationally acclaimed and highly talented children's book author of Tales of Rumpus, Amy Hawk.
Hi.
Amy, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
For our listeners and viewers out there, Amy, meeting you for the first time, how would you introduce yourself? As a nurse practitioner, as an author, or
Right.
both? Or how would you
Right.
do that?
Well, yeah. So, nurse practitioner is my profession. It's my calling. It's my money make. It's how I earn my living. It pays my bills. And it's a passion for me. I love being in the nursing field and I've always worked in the emergency room. So I get to make a huge impact. So yes, but then, when I was in elementary school, I have a piece of paper and I wrote that I wanted to be a novelist when I was like in first grade. So I think I'm both, because it's a blend and I'm a diehard reader. And so that just kind of translating into putting it on paper.
And so we're talking about your first book here, Tales of Rumpus.
Yeah.
So what's the origin story of it? Do you remember the
Oh,
moment
yes.
Princess Caitlin first popped in your head?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Princess Caitlin is a real person. She's my niece. And
Okay.
she was born in 1998.
All right.
And that's when it kind of was percolating in my brain. And then it came on paper that first year that she was alive. So, yeah, I remember very
Wow.
specifically. Yep.
How would you pitch the book to a kid who loves adventure and magic?
Right. I think the way that a kid gets attracted to it is there's so many talking animals in it.
Oh,
And so,
cool.
I mean, who doesn't love a talking animal, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a fun story. It's each chapter is kind of a new part of the adventure, so you can read it like a chapter book. I've read it to like my godchildren each night. We read one of the chapters, so you can kind of pique their interest in that. But it combines adventure, and then it combines talking animals, and then it's about forming friendships. And so I think kids just get totally into it because of the talking animals and the bright colors and the characters that are in it on the pages. They're you want to know them because they look exciting, and so
Huh. And so you mentioned that Princess Caitlin was kind of inspired by your niece,
yep,
correct?
yep.
And so who is Princess Caitlin at the start of the story, and what is she trying to prove?
Oh, she is an only child
Okay.
in a traditional kingdom. Um, it's gotten more open minded with King Felix, but now her father's ruling the kingdom, and so her dad, King Dylan, he wants her to follow those traditional women roles. So you're going to marry a man who's going to rule the kingdom. You're going to stay in line. You're going to be subservient. You're going to the way that you become an adult as a female back then is by entering the ability to have children. And so
Mm.
he wants her to follow those traditional lines. And Caitlin says, no, not going to do that. I deserve the throne. I'm the only child. It's not fair that I'm not a boy. I'm the only kid, so I'm going to get it. And he's like, no, 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 you're not. You're going to marry a man who's going to do it. And so they butt heads, and she finally wins out. And the way boys become adults is by doing this thing called the coming.
Mm.
And so they're sent out into the wilderness with only their wits about them. And they have to survive this series of tests. And then they come back and they're adults. And then they can step up and they can do what they need to do as men in the kingdom. And so
Okay.
she says, nope, that's mine. I'm going to do it. And of course, he's like, absolutely not. And so he picks one female to go along with her, who is Kat. She's the other main character. And Kat broke out on her own and she's a world traveler. She's a writer. And so she wanted to see the world. So she's pretty worldly. And so he says, okay, you can take her with you. We never let anybody go along. It's always secret, but you can take her with you. But the two of you can't share anything, and we'll let you do it. And so
Okay.
that's how Caitlin gets to go out, and she's never really left the kingdom. And so this is how she gets to go out. So, and then they
So,
start this epic adventure. So,
okay.
yeah.
So can you talk about one of the challenges she faces that you kind of hope really stick with young readers?
Oh, as far as Caitlin,
Yeah.
it's the button of the heads with the parents. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a generational thing. It never goes away. How many times have you fought your parents on something that you wanted to do? And so it starts right there. We think we know everything when we're little bitty, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we know what's best for us. We can tie our own shoes. We get every 3-year-old you see out there is deciding they're going to dress themselves, and the shoes are wrong. They don't know what they're doing. They're on the wrong feet. The clothes are mismatched. You've seen the crazy hat with the striped shirt and then whatever pants. And so it starts really young, and it's about us figuring out our way in the world and what are our limitations, but what can we do? And
Right.
so, yeah. So I think that's the first thing is fighting with your parents, wanting to be an adult and you're not. So, that's tried and true through everything. So,
Right.
yeah.
And so how did you imagine the Kingdom of Rumpus, and how did you make it feel different from like other fantasy kingdoms?
So, the Kingdom of Rumpus in my head, and it's very hard to translate it over when an artist is drawing your vision. And I just couldn't get them to visualize it. But when you read the description of the Kingdom of Rumpus, the castle's a big like air balloon, and it's
Mm,
multicolored. And the one on the cover is good. It's the colors that I have, but the appearance is supposed to be this great big massive air balloon is what it looks like. And
okay.
so when you go into the actual castle, there's no squares. It's all round. And so nothing's hiding around a corner. Like everything's transparent. And so
Huh.
everything's fun in there. And, it's a safe place to explore and kind of find your way, instead of having all these hidden things. So the kids in the kingdom tend to be well more adjusted than people who are living out in the world where they have all these restrictions. So
Okay.
King Felix kind of made the castle welcome all, come play. They play human-sized chess. They do all kinds of fun things, fun games. It's always noisy and rambunctious, but it's a safe place. And
Huh.
so that's how it is in my mind. Now it translates in the pages, but not on the cover. So you kind of have to open it. But bright colors, bright colors. The moat has fish and all kinds of playful things. It's not a dark, dreary moat with sharks and alligators, and it's the whole kingdom is just open and welcoming.
Right.
So the kids,
Um,
there's water slides into the moat. It's fun. It's fun. So yeah.
now, so let me, as the author, if you could visit one location in that book, where would you go then?
Oh man, I would ride the elephants out of the kingdom with the girls.
Oh yeah.
I would be on them on the first steps on that journey. That's where I would be. Yeah.
And now, so because you said your niece was inspired for the main character, but how much of you is
Oh,
in Caitlin as well?
I'm Cat, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The rest of it is, I'm adopted. And so I think the family, the way we become family and the way friends, you'll feel that through. Um, family's not just blood. Family's who you
Right.
make your family, right? We can choose our own tribe. And so you'll feel that throughout it.
Right.
I love adventure. I love to travel. I'm not afraid of new things and people and challenges. And so that resonates for sure. You
Right.
know, anytime they come up against a challenge where maybe they're a little nervous about it, you can feel my voice in there saying, nope, let's go, let's do it, take the step. I mean, it's going to turn out good or bad, but you can't stay frozen. So yeah, for sure. I'm all through it. Yep.
All right. And so at its heart, what do you think that Tales of Rumpus is really about then?
There's like core messages, right? There's three, in my opinion.
Okay.
One, trust your inner voice. Um, it's not going to lead you wrong. It's the voice that tells us we have value. It's the voice that tells us we're loved. We deserve to be loved, and we deserve to give love, right? And if we all listen, cut out the noise, and listen to that voice, then where would we be? Would be pretty
Right.
amazing. That's the first one, and then the second one is that family values. Um, Families aren't traditional anymore. We have
Mm,
every make and model of families. We have same sex couples, we have interracial couples, we have all these couples that are different. And so families are not what they were traditionally. It looks
mm,
totally different. And so for me, my tribe is not just my parents who raised me. It's all of my friends who, have lifted me up. I'm friends with all of my high school friends still, so 40, showing my age there, but they're my tribe. They're my family. Their children think of me as their aunt. So that's the second. There's just that core value of developing your own tribe,
right.
finding the people that fit with you, that make you feel good. And
Right.
so, yeah, definitely. And then I think the third thing is that we're challenging those traditional values, but you still have to have the base of tradition to build your core, right? And then you build upon that. When you have a really strong foundation in that, then you can build up and you can do whatever you want, really. And
Mm,
so it's a matter of challenging old traditions, but also keeping them in,
mm,
incorporating them in our new values and our new traditions, you know?
right. I
So
mean, could you also have like themes of courage and curiosity in the book as
absolutely.
well? Yep.
Yeah, and compassion, you
Yep.
know, um, being open to new, like just, you know, she makes friends with a badger and she makes friends with a dragon and she makes friends with a bullfrog. And, those aren't anything that look like her or anything that she's ever known, but,
Mm,
she embraced it. And so just having compassion and openness to embrace things maybe you don't understand, but my God, they fulfill your life. And so
right.
that's definitely a theme through it.
And so,
Fun. Fun is the
yeah.
underlying thing. Don't forget the fun. It's always fun. So,
Yeah. So, how did you put those themes in there without making the story feel preachy then?
oh my gosh, fun. So she learns those lessons by, falling down. The dragon comes in. When he comes in, my God, it's scary as heck. And, your old values are like, nope, run home, do this. But boy, she climbs up the tree and she confronts him and she's like, what is your problem? What is going on? And so then she gets to the bottom of it. She becomes a confidant for him and then they become really good friends. So it's the underlying theme is open your mind and accept people in your life, but not telling you to do it. It's how do you
Right.
do it. So yeah, there's always something fun. And so yeah, I think that helps carry that theme through the whole thing. So, but you're not being preached at. I am not a preacher by any means. So I'm gonna let you find it by your own.
Well, hey there. If you're enjoying our podcast, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep this show going. We love hearing from you, so any feedback is welcome. And thank you for being a part of our podcast family and for all your support. It truly means a lot to us. Are there moments where Caitlin kind of fails or stumbles in ways
She
that you
stumbles.
think that are,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. She
and
stumbles, but she doesn't fall because she's developed this network. And
okay,
so, Kat is probably the one I mean, she's traveled the world, but she's more reserved. And I think she thinks more about my family has we call it the doing the death dance, where we figure out the far worst thing that can happen if you choose that path. What are you going to splat? And so Kat's definitely kind of not as courageous because Caitlin's more naive about it. But
mm,
in her naivety, she does such wonderful things that Kat's kind of like, okay, let's do it. I'll pick you up when you fall. I got you. And Daniel's a dragon. He'll fly her out of any danger. No problem. So, and the badger. Oh boy, the badger is going to be everybody's favorite. But she's got this really good core group of friends that are on this adventure with her, and they want her to succeed. They don't want her to fail. So as it goes further in, the badger will go out and scout, and he'll say, okay, well, this path is not good, but this one's good, and Daniel's kind of surveying from the air. So they give her the ability to do these big things and not fall where she just crashes. So so she becomes really adventurous and courageous by the end of it. So she's
Right.
she stands her ground, and so, and she learns such wonderful lessons as she goes, because each success that you have, you want to make more successes, right? So if you try something and you succeed, then you go, okay, maybe a little painful, but I can do that again, and then what can I do next? And and so she develops through the whole story that way. So
Okay.
yeah.
The book is kind of described as fun for the whole family to read.
Yeah.
And so how did you write it so it works for both young kids and adults that are reading it aloud?
I grew up being read to, and then I read to my niece and nephew, and I read to my godchildren. And you have to think about it. If a story's boring for a parent, that kid chooses it, and they're like, oh God, we got to do that one again. It's their favorite story because it has this, but I just can't handle it. So I think I wrote it in more of an adult voice, but I envision the parents reading it. So I like the voices of each animal is it lives in my brain. So I think for parents it's fun to figure it out, because the language of the bullfrog, he's Jamaican in my brain. And so it's kind of written like that feeling of like Yaman, so I would love to be just in people's brains and see what they do with it. So I think that's fun for parents, because they can see, how can I make this where my kid's interested? So
Right.
I think that's part of it. And then the other part of it is the parents are going, oh yeah, I remember that from my childhood. Oh yeah, I learned that lesson when, and so it is exciting for adults. I read it to my husband like a storybook, and he's almost 60. And he was like, I can't wait for the next chapter. So, if I can keep him in, then life is good. So, yeah. So I think it's fun that way for parents. So it's kind of one of those things you do over and over. Like you see a movie 700 times, and then you
Right.
catch something in it and you're like, oh gosh, I've missed that. And that's what the book does.
Right. Now, so if Tales of Rumpus were adapted into a movie or a series,
Oh,
what would, I guess my question for you is like, what would you want most them to get right out of it?
oh my gosh. That's been a big battle for me, because the artwork that's in the book, it's good, but it's not my brain good. So yeah, I would want fingertips and all of that. I would need the characters to be exactly like I envision them. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And the book is great. The artists, oh my gosh, they did so good. But yeah, I would want the mannerisms, and I would want it exactly how it is in here in my author's brain. Yeah. Yeah. I would want total control. But that's oh my gosh, I would die if it was a Pixar movie. I could die and go to heaven. That would be the ultimate. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Are there more stories brewing in your head for Kingdom of Rumpus?
Yes. 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 Uh-huh. Mhm. I'm actually working on two. I have the origin story for Queen Riley.
Okay.
It's brewing big time, and I'm getting it down on paper. And then Daniel, because it is kind of a girl power book. Boys love to read it, but I wanted boys to have something to identify. So then Daniel it's going to be his origin, but he's going to try and find a bride. And so the Badger Bryce is going to help him look for a bride. And so those are the next two. So,
Okay.
and then Kat she's the carry through on all of it. So she's the narrator in all of it. So she tells. So yeah, that's brewing. In the works. Now, if I only had time.
No, Amy, if people want to get a copy of this book or learn more about you, where is the best place they could go to?
The biggest sales have been through Amazon because everybody uses Amazon internationally.
Right.
Just go on there. It's for sale on there. It's also in the e-readers, so Google and the Apple, and also Kindle.
Okay.
So you can
All right.
e-read it. I'm still a person. I'd rather you open a book and smell the pages and flip the pages.
Right.
That's how I like to read, but I understand a lot of people like it electronically. So it's available on all of that. And then you
Right.
can get it at Barnes & Noble. Goodreads has it. And then Reader House also has it. So, but
Right.
it seems like most people gravitate toward Amazon.
And they could also go to their local library and ask the library to
I
get
don't
a
know
copy.
if they've started carrying it yet. I'm trying to get in libraries.
Right.
Like I wanted to do some of the reader, like author spotlights.
Right.
I'm hoping the libraries start carrying it.
If somebody goes to their own local library and says,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to read the Tales of Rumpus,
Yep.
can you order it for me?
Yep.
And then they can
Yep.
do that.
Every school, that would be great if it was in the school, little kid library. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah.
Well, this is great. Amy, you're going to have to come back on when you have your sequel book out.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be sometime soon. Hopefully.
Yeah.